So I've got a confession. There's a lot of things I didn't tell you about this stove, the SOTO Stormbreaker. And I apologise. I was wrong. We know that it works with gas, and we know that it works with liquid fuel. But there's a lot I omitted to tell you about using it in its liquid fuel form. And in that first review, which I'll put a link to here, I didn't give you the full story. What I didn't tell you is that using a liquid fuel stove like this takes a little bit more preparation than your average simple gas stove. And it takes a little bit of experience as well. But it's a little bit like making a really great espresso or preparing a fire. It takes practice and experience to get it right. So I had, on my last video, a little bit of a flare up when I was lighting this. And I confess I'd overfilled the bottle a little bit, and that's what can cause a problem. And the other thing that I didn't tell you about is, whilst this pump works really well, it is a stove that requires pressure, and that pressure takes a certain amount of pumping. But that's pretty much it, really. It just takes a few seconds, just a little bit of prep. And the other thing I didn't tell you is that once you've lit it and the mixture of air and gas is coming out, that causes it to lose pressure a little bit, and you need to give it like a few more pumps. But the other thing I didn't tell you with using a liquid fuel stove is that the rewards in terms of output, and to me sheer satisfaction of getting it just right, are worth it. You might argue you don't need that complication when you're camping, and some people might call it fiddly, but I call it an art form, really, and something that takes time to practice with and gives great rewards. I just really like them, and this Stormbreaker represents an evolution of that stove. You can call BS if you like, but that's really how I feel. The other thing I didn't tell you is what it's like to use this inside a tent. Now, I've got my door open here, and for lighting I've got the stove outside. Everything's in place. I've got the thing locked down there. I've got my lighter ready, and it's best to have a good jet type lighter. There we go, and that's on start mode, and there's a blue flame there straight away, and that blue flame pretty much tells me that I've done everything right, that I've got no wind on it, I've got the pressure right. And then once that flame becomes super stable, what I'll be happy to do is put it onto run mode, and the generator will be warm. And what I can do now is just slide that inside, and if it was raining I could pull my door a little bit closed, and I'm pretty happy with that now. Right, get the water on for my tea, make sure that's level. So the other thing I didn't tell you is, don't do what I do. No stove manufacturer recommends cooking inside an enclosed space like a vestibule of a tent, and that applies to any stoves. They're a flame, they're dangerous, they give off fumes, they give off carbon monoxide, but it's a case of getting your experience right, really, and being confident with your equipment. And I'm looking forward to this cup of tea and getting my food on, which is going to be this fire pot spicy pork noodles. I think I've had this before. I think it's all right. fingers crossed. The other thing I didn't tell you is just how lovely the purr of a petrol stove is. This one's nice and quiet. I'm thinking of shifting over to a wider, lower pot. Then I can use it as a frying pan. I won't waste any heat from the side, and the capacity will be the same. I don't know what you think. Right. Stop. So the other thing that doesn't sit well with me, on the review video I pointed out that I felt somebody else's opinion was wrong about this stove, and that sits badly with me because I wanted that debate to be all about the stove, and a lot of people came out in favour of petrol stoves, but some people felt that I was being critical, and that wasn't my intention at all, and I just wanted it to be all about the stoves. And it certainly wouldn't be about views or money, because, you know, you'd make, on a really successful video for me, kind of like just a few quid. It's kind of maybe buy you one of those if you're lucky, and that's not what it's about. To me, it's about the debate and about the fun of equipment and things like that. So I'm on good terms with that person, but I just don't want to be interpreted. So what I'm going to do with that video is kind of like change the title and cut out the bit, not because I feel I was wrong expressing an opinion, it's just that it became not about the stove, and I think that's really, really important. So I'll change that, because, you know, it's a fun thing, isn't it, while camping? Cup of tea and some tea. When I spoke to SOTO via email about the stove and what he felt of my video, a brilliant guy from SOTO gave me a very detailed email, and he told me that I had, or asked the question, had I overfilled it, and on reflection that I had. And what he went at lengths to explain is that a lot of people aren't reading the manual with this. And the other thing I must confess that I didn't tell you when I was using it on gas on my last video is that you can use it, the gas canister inverted, but it's absolutely essential with this stove. Lovely, that's a warm packet. I wish you could smell this Lapsang Souchong. Lovely smoky tea. I paid for this stove myself, if in case you were wondering. What I did tell you is that it's a great piece of engineering. I really like it, and I'm going to stick with it over the winter. But for cold weather camping, this is going to be my staple, really. So the other thing I didn't tell you is that you can simmer with the SOTO Stormbreaker. You have to keep an eye on it, but perfectly possible. That's a super low flame there now, and with that deep basket, protects it from the wind. So the other thing I didn't tell you about a liquid fueled stove like this is all you've got to do is take the pump out and look inside to see exactly how much fuel there is. So cooking these 2 meals, I've used about a finger worth there, I would say. And none of this gas bottle shaking shenanigans. You can just look and see exactly how much you've got. And there's more heat output, calorific value from liquid fuel. So for the same amount of liquid, you'll get more output compared to butane and propane. So whilst the stove unit itself is heavier, on a longer trip the weight of fuel proportionally would be less. And if you carried fuel in litre plastic bottles, you'd actually have a massive amount. I agree it's not as convenient as a gas cooker, a standalone gas cooker, but you know, it's got a lot of great attributes. But one thing I did tell you is this is a brilliant stove. Just before you go, I wanted to show you some cool things that SOTO sent me. I paid for the SOTO Stormbreaker myself, but they saw the video and liked it and have sent me these things, including 2 items that are new to market that are really cool that I wanted to show you. So firstly, there's the SOTO Fusion Trek. This is the gas-only equivalent to the SOTO Stormbreaker, and in the future I'm going to be comparing this to the Stormbreaker to see which has the best gas performance. And they've also kindly sent me the Navigator cook set. This is for group cooking or has a smaller pan inside, so I'm going to be testing this out in the future. And what I'm really pleased with is these new to market titanium pans, and they both come with a little cozy / storage bag, so you can fit in there and it's insulated and you could turn that down and just eat straight out of there. Now this pan lid and the super lightweight grabber only weighs 110 grams, and that's for a 1.1 litre pot. The other one that I really like is the 750ml. Now this weighs 85 grams, so for only a little bit more you could have a large pot. But look at this. Inside fits SOTO Windmaster, the titanium handle and a 100 gram gas cartridge. That all fits in there, and you could fit some lightweight knives and forks in there, so that would be a complete cook kit. And I really like the cozy for this one. So after you've heated your drink up, you can actually turn that down, hold that without getting too much heat from the pan, and drink out of there or eat your food. It would be absolutely fantastic. Or you could put you know, anything you like in there to kind of like keep warm. Really nice bit of kit. So I'm away this weekend on a pack rafting expedition to Scotland, and I'm just deciding which of these I'm going to take and which stove. One more thing, let me show you the neat trick with this. This is the SOTO Pocket Torch XT. They're a very popular item and a really nice thing, and it comes without any gas in it. It extends like this, and it's got a little safety button there, piezo igniter inside. But this is the neat trick. You can fill it with a standard butane cartridge, or you can use this micro fill adapter. So that just screws on to a standard gas cartridge. You move that out of the way, it's like a protector, put it onto the fill nozzle and just simply push that down. So you'll no longer have that at camp anxiety about running out of gas, because you can just fill it up using a standard cartridge. Great, that's full now. Now we have a rip-roaring flame. So thanks again for watching. Tune into the stove review playlist to get more of this and the future reviews on this kit. Thank you very much.